Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility generally means it's Wednesday here on the channel. New release day, reviews of new albums that have come out in the various genres that we cover here on the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new release on Ontario Creates, also a division of Universal Music Group up in Canada. This is a duo that call themselves Crownlands. Everybody's talking about this album and this band. The album is called Fearless. Right? Magellan. Anybody see something similar to an old Magellan album on there? Right? A little bit of a homage to that, perhaps. Actually, a lot of homages on this, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Kind of a cool album cover, CD cover, though, nonetheless. There we have the guys in the band. Cody Bolus, vocals, drum kit, wind chimes, Native American flute. And Kevin Comio on 6 and 12 string electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, Taurus pedals, OB6 synthesizer, Mellotron, and piano. All songs written by the band except track 3, written by the duo along with David Bottrill. Produced by David Bottrill as well. Let's see. Here's the booklet. So these guys have a couple of EPs which have come out before this one. This is their first, to my knowledge, their first full length. They've got an EP which came out a couple of years ago, which was roughly 20 some odd minutes long, and they have one before that. They list themselves, if you go to their Bandcamp page, they list themselves as a psychedelic blues rock band. However, there's really no bluesy anything going on this album. If you listen to some of the earlier stuff, there is a little bit of this kind of Zeppelin-y Rush thing going on, sort of, right? Which the Rush thing stays on board big time for this particular album. So everybody, this is like the talk of the town right now, basically. For the last couple of weeks, everybody's like, Crownlands. Oh my God, it sounds like the best Rush album we haven't got in a million years, and so on and so forth. And so, of course, I've been kind of waiting to hear this myself. Finally, I think the physical CD came out on the 14th just recently, so I got it over the weekend. I've listened to this a bunch of times already, and I'm hearing all sorts of things from all sorts of people. To the people who love Rush, but man, this is just way too much of a blatant ripoff of Rush. To the people who are loving this, who are Rush fans, and they're like, oh, it sounds just like classic Rush in the 70s. I love this. I've waited forever to hear something that sounds like this once again, because Rush themselves weren't doing a lot of music that sounded exactly like their 70s albums for many, many years, right? So kind of a couple different camps here. Some people hate it, some people love it, some people are indifferent to it and won't listen to it. Whatever you might be, I wanted to give it a shot, right? So, opening track, Star Lifter, Fearless Part 2. Okay, it is a 9-part multi-suite, 18 plus minutes, total 70s Rush worship right here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I've ever heard any band who specifically went out to sound exactly like a specific band from a specific time period and basically hit it out of the park, whether you like it or not, right? It sounds like a long-lost Rush track from like Hemispheres or Farewell to Kings or one of those classic albums, right? It's as if the two guys in the band said, let's take some of our favorite bits from 5 different Rush albums and create a big epic song as a tribute to the band. It's completely derivative and blatantly borrowing, but is it well done? Hell yeah, it's well done. I can't lie and say I didn't enjoy this. I think it's excellent. Again, you can hear, you listen to it carefully, you can hear little bits. Oh yeah, that's from 2112, and oh yeah, that's from Hemispheres, and oh yeah, that's from this, and oh yeah, that's from that. It's very blatant. But is it really well done? Does it rock? Does it scratch all those itches? Yeah, it does. Nice use of the synthesizers and spots. The guitars and bass have a very strong Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson thing going to them. Like I said, this could have come from 1977. The drums are really well played. It's heavy, it's proggy at the same time. The vocals are not quite as high as Geddy from this time period. They're not that far off, though. So, overall, I really like this song. Again, you got to take it for what it is, right? I'm not going to declare these guys the best band that's come on to the planet over the last decade or so, right? Because I think that to me, which I'll get to later in the review, I still want to hear what Crownlands is all about. Yeah, okay, they can play Rush type stuff, right? I get it. But is that all they got? I don't know. We'll see. Dream of the Dawn, next track. More of a straightforward track. Sounds like kind of Rush meets Starcastle. To my ears, there's a little Starcastle stuff going on this album. On the more kind of straight proggy stuff, less heavy, more a little uplifting. Nice hook on the chorus on this track. Interesting guitar patterns. It's a memorable song. It's nothing mind-blowing, but I like it. I think it's pretty good. That's Dreamer of the Dawn. Next up, we got The Shadow. Heavier, darker song. Sounds less to my ears like Rush and more like the last Greta Van Fleet album. Because Greta Van Fleet, I think, those first two records, very much sounding like classic Zeppelin. I think on their last album, they're trying to get a little bit away from that to some darker stuff, more textured stuff, maybe even more progressive stuff. That's kind of what I get here. I kind of dig this song. And my guess is what you hear on The Shadow is more of what this band are really all about. Once you get past the whole Rush worship, which I think my guess is they did on purpose for this album, but I don't think that's what they want to do going forward. I think The Shadow is kind of what we get from Crownlands, and I'm okay with that. Right Way Back, another kind of heavy track, a little bit of Rush, a little bit of Zebra, I hear a little Black Sabbath in spots, right? Interesting song. Again, maybe this is more of kind of what they're all about. We'll see. Next up, you got Context, Fearless Part 1, near 8 minutes long. Heavy Rush worship is back once again. Guitar patterns could have come right off of Farewell to Kings or Hemispheres. Loads of lead bass lines, which I kind of like. The drums are all sorts of acrobatic and busy. Don't mind it. Listen carefully once again, and you'll start to hear these little bits and passages and licks and things directly from Rush songs that you know well and love. Right down to the kind of like 2112 meets Roll the Bones little voiceover thing that shows up later in the track. I mean, it's very blatant, but again, well done, right? Next up, we got Reflections. Pretty bland song compared to some of the rest of the stuff, but it picks up steam later on in the song. If you like moodier Rush fare, I think you'll dig this. Nice guitar solo that captures that kind of 80s feel that Alex Lifeson was going for. Not a bad song, not one of my favorites here. Penny's up next, nicely done acoustic guitar piece, well done, it's quick and brief. Lady of the Lake, Starcastle, anyone? Mid-paced, moody number. I hear Zepp, I hear Rush. Again, I'm hearing that last Greta Van Fleet album a little bit. I hear a little bit of Zebra as well. Some nice guitar soloing, but overall, this song, not really clicking with me all that much. Last track, Citadel. Again, Starcastle, right? I'm using a couple of Starcastle songs here, titles. More of a kind of like very soaring, melodic, like piano-driven prog song, right? Very different from the rest of the album. It's another one of their non-Rush sounding tracks. It's decent, not overly memorable, not one of my favorites here. I think overall, the album loses a little steam towards the end, but I don't think anything on here is terrible. I just, you got the stuff that sounds just exactly like Rush, and then you got the other stuff, which, again, sounds like a band that are still trying to kind of figure it all out. It's very well played. The whole album is very well played. So, I'm not hating this at all. I think for the most part, I really enjoy it. It's a well-played homage to Rush and other 70s and 80s legends that the band is obviously into. But yeah, I want to know what you're all about. I want to hear an album that's all about Crownlands, and this is kind of the direction we're going, and stick to it for the whole album, right? This is kind of like all over the place, not in a terrible way, but I'm left feeling a little again, I'm a little confused as to what the band at their essence are all about. But we'll see. It's funny how folks are, I've talked to tons of people online about this, and people are either claiming that this is the album of the year or it's the biggest ripoff of the year, and there are people who refuse to listen to it because of what it kind of represents, and there are people who You know, I've seen lots of people who, you know, Rush is their favorite band of all time, and maybe they're, you know, that's all they love is the classic Rush stuff, and they don't really maybe listen to a hell of a lot of other things, and they're like, oh my God, this is so great, this is so great. And, you know, part of me wonders, it's like, well, if it's so blatantly mimicking something you already love and know, you know, why won't you give a chance to a younger band that are maybe doing something fairly original, right? I don't know. I think people just love what's familiar to them. I think that's what it comes down to in a lot of cases. So the people who absolutely love this, it sounds familiar. It sounds like a band that's no longer around that I love with everything in me, so why wouldn't I like this? And then there's the other turn of the coin, which is like, well, if I wanted to hear something like this, I'll just go listen to Hemispheres, right? I get it. I get all of it, right? But for me, I think this is pretty damn solid for what it is. I don't think that this is anything groundbreaking or anything like that. It takes a lot of balls to come out and try and do something that sounds like Hemispheres, Farewell to Kings era Rush. I think they did a damn good job on it for most of this album. The stuff that's not Rush sounding, I'm intrigued enough to hear more. Some of it doesn't quite work for me, but overall, well played. Sounds good. But I'm only going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 star because I think that I want a little more from these guys, right? You can do the Rush thing. I get it. I still want to hear you hone your sound a little bit. So yeah, that's my review. 3.5 out of 5. I dig it with a little bit of reservations, but I'm enjoying it. Maybe I'll like it even more as time goes on. But like I said, I do like it. I think it's well played. I love early Rush, so I can get a fair amount of enjoyment from this. So there you have it. Crownlands, Fearless is the review for this particular episode. Let us know if you've heard it already. Let us know what you think in the comments below, whether you're for it or against it. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you soon here with more stuff. New Metallica coming at you next. So till then, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.